During the Battle of Bastogne in 1944, German forces under Hasso von Manteuffel's command inflicted over 20,000 casualties on the US forces. Yet just a decade later, this same man was lecturing at the US Military Academy at West Point. This transformation is just one chapter in the life of Hasso von Manteuffel, Germany's Panzer Baron. In today's video, we'll discuss how a feared panzer general became a respected military historian. Born in 1897 into a noble Prussian family with a long tradition of military service, Manteuffel was a born baron. His granduncle was Edwin Freyer von Manteuffel, a Prussian field marshal. Manteuffel entered the Naumburg Cadet Institute at a young age. There he immersed himself in rigorous discipline and martial traditions that would shape his character. In 1916, in the midst of the First World War, Manteuffel received his first commission as a lieutenant in the Imperial German Army, joining the prestigious 3rd Hussar Regiment. However, he soon faced the harsh realities of modern warfare on the Western Front. His experiences took him to the Battle of the Somme, where he suffered a severe wound. Despite this setback, Manteuffel demonstrated remarkable resilience and adaptability, returning to active duty with a deeper understanding of the evolving nature of warfare. As World War I concluded, Manteuffel and his fellow officers grappled with Germany's defeat. The aftermath of the war brought significant changes to the German military, forcing many career soldiers to reconsider their paths. Despite these challenges, Manteuffel chose to remain in the military. During the interwar period, Manteuffel served in the reduced Reichswehr, where he encountered new ideas about mechanized warfare. As Germany began to rebuild its military strength, Manteuffel found himself at the forefront of a tactical revolution. His expertise in mobile operations would soon be applied to a new form of warfare, the panzer divisions. The lessons he had learned in the trenches of World War I would soon be put to the test in a conflict that would surpass even the Great War in its scale and devastation. And in the interwar years, Germany's military underwent significant changes despite restrictions. Manteuffel emerged as a key figure in this transformation, transitioning from cavalry to armored warfare. His innovative ideas often clashed with traditionalists, but his expertise would prove invaluable in the coming years. Manteuffel's career shift began in February 1937, when he joined the Panzer Troop Command of the OKH. By February 1939, he had become a senior professor at Panzer Troop School II in Berlin. There he emphasized independent action and integrated team efforts in armored warfare, concepts that were crucial for the evolving nature of combat. His approach to armored warfare focused on speed and flexibility, recognizing that success with the new steel cavalry required a fundamental shift in tactics. Manteuffel understood that courage and the ability to sense the pulse of battle were essential in this new form of warfare. These ideas set him apart from many officers who still adhered to outdated notions of static formations and slower maneuvers. Manteuffel's expertise extended beyond theoretical concepts. He published a pamphlet on military training that applied traditional skills to modern warfare. This work demonstrated his ability to bridge the gap between conventional cavalry tactics and the emerging requirements of mechanized combat. As Germany secretly rebuilt its forces, Manteuffel's knowledge became increasingly valuable. His appointment as a battalion commander in the 7th Panzer Division allowed him to implement his tactical innovations in real combat situations. This division would soon gain fame for its rapid advances and effective maneuvers during the invasion of the Soviet Union. With Europe on the brink of another conflict, Manteuffel stood ready to lead Germany's armored forces into battle. The tactics he had developed and refined were about to face their ultimate test on the vast battlefields of the Eastern Front, where the true measure of his abilities as a panzer commander would be revealed. As Operation Barbarossa commenced, German forces initially made rapid progress into Soviet territory. Manteuffel's 7th Panzer Division demonstrated the effectiveness of coordinated armor attack, catching Soviet defenders off guard and leading to significant early victories. However, as German forces neared Moscow, they encountered a lot of setback. Vast distances, deteriorating supply lines, and strengthening Soviet resistance slowed their advance. The onset of the brutal Russian winter worsened these problems, with plummeting temperatures and heavy snowfall. Manteufel's tactical decisions proved crucial during the Soviet counteroffensive. His division reduced to 200 men and 5 operational tanks by mid-December 1941 faced both enemy forces and unforgiving elements. Despite these challenges, Manteuffel maintained his troops' fighting spirit, leading them through a grueling 300-mile retreat to Gazatsk. His ability to keep his division operational, even in a greatly reduced state, caught his superiors' attention. Following his experiences on the Eastern Front, Manteuffel was transferred to North Africa, commanding Division Manteuffel, and he quickly adapted his tactics to the desert environment. In Tunisia, he executed successful counterattacks against British and French troops, pushing the Allies back 20 miles. However, his division later suffered heavy losses when caught off guard by a surprise Allied counterattack. Despite this setback, Manteufel's leadership in Tunisia earned him recognition for disrupting enemy communications and supply lines. His performance on two vastly different fronts solidified his reputation as one of Germany's most capable panzer commanders. As Germany found itself increasingly on the defensive, Manteufel's skills would be called upon once again. The lessons learned from Russia and North Africa would soon be applied to the defense of Germany itself as the tide of the war turned against the Third Reich. Manteuffel assumed command of the 7th Panzer Division on August 22, 1943, and was assigned to the Eastern Front, which had experienced a significant setback after the Battle of Kursk and the subsequent Soviet counteroffensive. Following his appointment as commander of the Grossdeutschland Division on February 1, 1944, the division saw action against the Red Army before eventually retreating across Ukraine. In late July, Grossdeutschland received orders to proceed to East Prussia in response to the collapse of Army Group Center during the Soviet Operation Bagration. Despite their efforts, the division was unable to break through to Army Group North and found themselves trapped in the Courland Pocket. In late 1944, as Allied forces closed in on Germany, Hitler initiated the Ardennes Offensive, known as the Battle of the Bulge. Manteuffel, now promoted to General de Panzertruppe, was given command of the 5th Panzer Army, which found itself at the center of this high-stakes operation. During the planning stages, Manteuffel voiced objections to Hitler's overly ambitious objectives, arguing they were unachievable given Germany's depleted resources. He advocated for a more limited offensive, but his concerns were ultimately overruled. Despite his reservations, Manteuffel executed the offensive with skill. The attack, launched on December 16, 1944, achieved complete surprise against the overextended American front line. Manteufel's forces made significant initial gains, exploiting gaps in Allied defenses and sowing confusion among enemy ranks. However, the German advance soon encountered significant challenges. The limited road network in the densely forested Ardennes region slowed Manteufel's panzer divisions, hindering their ability to achieve a decisive breakthrough. Critical road junctions at Saint-Vith and Bastogne were heavily defended by US forces, further impeding German progress. Manteuffel focused on maintaining momentum and exploiting weaknesses in Allied defenses. As the battle progressed, the tide began to turn. The tenacity of the American defenders, particularly at Bastogne, proved greater than expected. The Allied forces regained control of the skies, launching relentless attacks on German supply lines and armored units. As a result, Manteufel's forces faced growing shortages of fuel and ammunition, putting them at a severe disadvantage. The failure of the Ardennes offensive became inevitable as Allied counterattacks gained momentum and German resources dwindled. By late January 1945, German forces had been pushed back to their starting positions. The Battle of the Bulge marked the end of Germany's offensive capabilities in the West and accelerated the collapse of the Third Reich. In the war's final months, Manteuffel was again transferred to the Eastern Front, taking command of the 3rd Panzer Army in a last-ditch effort to halt the Soviet advance. Faced with overwhelming odds and dwindling resources, he fought a series of defensive battles before ultimately surrendering to British forces on May 3, 1945. Manteuffel was initially held at Island Farm Special Camp 11, a detention center under British administration, where high-ranking Wehrmacht officers were interned. In 1946, he was transferred to American custody and participated in the U.S. Army Historical Division project. As part of this project, he authored an essay focusing on the mobile warfare aspect of the Ardennes offensive, providing valuable insights into the military tactics employed during the time. After his release in December of 1946, Manteuffel entered politics, serving in the Bundestag, the German parliament, from 1953 to 57, where he advocated for West German rearmament and contributed to the establishment of the Bundeswehr. However, his past actions caught up with him in 1959 when he was convicted and sentenced to 18 months in prison for manslaughter for ordering the execution of a deserter during the war, sparking debate about military justice and accountability. However, after a public outcry and intense lobbying by German politicians, he was granted early release from prison just 2 months into his sentence. Despite these challenges, Manteufel's expertise found new purpose. He spoke very good English, and in 1968, he lectured at the U.S. Military Academy in West Point, discussing tactics and strategies for engaging in military operations in extreme snowy conditions. This symbolized a remarkable shift from an enemy general to a respected educator, highlighting the changing dynamics of post-war alliances and the value placed on military knowledge regardless of its source. Manteufel's contributions to NATO's military strategy further underscored his evolution from adversary to ally. Hasso von Manteuffel died on September 24, 1978, at the age of 81, while on a trip to Austria. And that's it. Thanks for watching. We hope you found this video informative. If you enjoyed learning about today's topic, make sure to check out our other videos about German generals. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on more World War II content. And we'll see you in the next one.